We need to go big, and if we waste some money now, well, we waste some money. But absolutely, we've got too many people hurting, and the economy is going to sputter, and we've got to get ourselves out of this mess, and it's the way we need to go right now.
Believe it or not, that was Trump-loving, formerly Democratic, but now Republican governor of West Virginia, Jim Justice, making the case for Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID relief package. He joins millions of Americans across the country who are calling for action right now. Joining me now is Bishop William Barber, co-chairman of the Poor People's Campaign. And Bishop Barber, I don't know if you were able to hear my conversation with Senator Booker. And Senator Booker's a really good guy. I mean, honestly, he's a great guy. And he wants there to be more peace in the world, right? And so he and Joe Biden, who is also a good man, they want there to be a coming together on this idea of helping people. But we ain't getting that. You're getting Republicans saying give people just a little money, and Biden saying no, want to give them a lot of money and a lot of help. And even this Republican governor, he's now to the left of Joe Manchin on this. How do we come down on this? It's Moral Monday. Give us some direction.
Yeah, I'm just coming off a call, Joy, with tens of thousands of people on the first of 14 National Moral Monday, where we talked about protect us, respect us, and pay us. SEIU was there, one fair wage. And I'm telling you, people are sick and tired of this now. That governor is right, because it's hitting people in Appalachia. That's what he's really saying. But listen, we're about, if you want to be serious, Jesus said, I didn't come to bring a peace, I came to bring a sword when it comes to injustice. And the reality is there was no compromise for the $5 to $6 trillion the banks and corporations got. We can't always have this business of compromising on the backs of poor and the people that are hurting the most. And it's not about being like Trump. It's doing what's right. It's passing what needs to be passed and doing what's right now. People are hurting. We need a full, just, joy COVID relief. Why? Because we cannot have people who were the first infected, the first forced to go back to work, the first to get sick, the first to die, but then be the last ones to get protected, the last ones to get wages, the last ones to get health care. We know right now, Joy, only 39% of Americans can afford a $1,000 emergency. We know these things. And I looked at who was in that meeting today. Tom Tillis was in there from North Carolina. Tom Tillis passed the worst voter suppression law in the country when he was speaker, and he never compromised. He blocked expanding health care. He blocked votes on living wages. He even blocked 2 black women from getting a hearing for a federal judge. You can't compromise with that. That is actually immoral to always be compromising on the back of poor people. The reality is, if we pass 15 in the union, Joy, 50 million people would be lifted. $300 billion would go into the economy. We have places, and I got to stop, but we're like Kansas. Voters voted for a living wage, and then the state Republican legislature overturned it. Birmingham, they did the same thing. The state, these people are not compromising. They are taking prisoners and hurting people, and Democrats have the votes. They need to do what is right. Not be like Trump, just do what is right.
Well, the one thing, that sort of the be like Trump sort of argument is that the reason that people liked Trump is that he didn't talk like a politician, and he said he would hurt the people that they want to see hurt. And he hurt them. He didn't compromise with Democrats, as he didn't ask for permission to hurt people. He just hurt them, and his base loved it. And I wonder if now we're looking at sort of opportunities for Democrats to help people with the same energy that you saw Trump hurt people. You have John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, now both the 2 senators from Georgia. They ran on saying, if y'all vote for us, you're going to get this $2,000. Right. Now we're seeing that it's $1,400 because you already got $600 from the last bill. And yes, the $600 plus the $1,400 adds up to $2,000, but that's really not the same. Shouldn't Democrats, isn't it the better, you're not a political guy, but isn't the better message to just say, here's the $2,000 and a $15 minimum wage? You're welcome.
Yeah. Listen, I preached the inaugural service, and the scripture was repairing the breach. The first things it says is stop unjust practices and do what is right. You got to at least do what you ran on. You ran on 15 the union. You ran on 2,000. You ran on health care. You ran on addressing systemic racism. and 55% of poor and low wealth people voted for you, and you got the Senate and the House. Do what is right. And listen, 70-some% of the people want this. Even Republicans, people are hurting before COVID. You have more than 140 million people in this country that are poor and low wealth. You know, I also heard, Jordan, now there's a group that wants to talk about, well, we might do 15, but we'll do it in 6 years. Excuse me, but what the hell? 6 years, 5 years? Then you've got tip workers. They said now they want to write off the tip workers. Well, that's 70% of tip workers are women. They're the people we told to go back to work. 60% of them couldn't get unemployment because $2.10 some change doesn't give them enough base income. 6 million tip workers lost their jobs. We don't need to pit the tip workers against the regular workers. We need to pay everybody $15 an hour a living now. And it's 57 years old. In the March on Washington, they asked for $2 an hour, which would be $15 today. It is ridiculous for these folk who have health care that they got from the people. They've got these high wages salaries from working in the Congress and the Senate, to then get in back rooms and worse than not having Democrats in the room, they didn't have any poor folk in the room. They didn't have any low-wage workers in the room. That's the problem. They're treating people like they're numbers and not human beings. And I'm saying to the Biden administration, to Schumer, and to Nancy Pelosi, Democrats, do what is right. We can't wait. People were hurting before COVID. People were hurting. And one study says it'll take 10 years now for poor and low wealth people to recover now. People don't have that kind of, it's so wrong. If you want to have domestic tranquility, establish justice. Established justice.
Indeed. Steve Mnuchin didn't add bipartisanship. He just went ahead and wrote those checks to those billionaires. And Joe Manchin is more angry that Kamala Harris was on TV in his state than he is about people having no money. The governor is to his left. It's wild. Bishop William Barber, thank you very much. I appreciate